Hello and welcome to Make Ideas Reality, the podcast. This is a podcast dedicated to everyday creative heroes making their ideas reality that wouldn't necessarily get their story heard. I hope to inspire you with their stories, give you courage to leave your comfort zone, think big, and be the badass creator you are meant to be. I'm Justin White, aka The Garage Avenger. Let's do this! Hello and welcome to the Make Ideas Reality podcast. Today's guest is a talented artist from Sweden. Now that I've said that, all the Norwegians will just switch off, so that's good, Anya. She's best known for her graffiti work with a notorious graffiti crew in Sweden, which she can tell you all about. And like a true artist, though, she's expressing herself in all different forms of art, including painting, drawing, sculpture, photography, and film, and expressing herself more than the flat-packed world of graffiti. Welcome to the show, Q.bless, otherwise known as Anya Blom.
Yeah, thank you.
So to tell you a little story, how you and I got in touch was Steinar Kaspari, which is on episode 12, I believe. Was on, and he is an amazing graffiti artist, now working as a commercial graffiti artist. And we were talking after the podcast, and I was like, is there any cool people that you just think would be worth having on the show? And he's like, yeah, Q.bless.
Yeah.
It's like this girl is dope,
Oh,
and I was like, all right, let's do this. So here we are. Weeks and weeks and weeks later. And
appreciate that. That's very nice.
Yeah. So why don't you tell us a little about yourself, and then we'll just go from there.
I think it would be better if you ask me just a little bit of questions, because it's so big. Where do you start?
Where do you start?
Where do I start?
What do you do? What do you do?
What do I do?
Yeah, but people often say that, right? Like, I just saw it in your YouTube video. What do you do? And you say, I'm an artist, but that's not really what you do, is it? Like, it's not that easy just to say you're an artist. So why do we just start there?
Like I said earlier, is that I'm still trying to figure out what I do. Even if people ask questions, I don't have all of the answers yet. And I know it sounds like there's a lot of question marks, for sure. But I know what I do. I'm an artist. I like to draw, I like to paint, I like to create stuff, but I'm in a path where I'm trying to find my way. And actually, what do I do? What do I feel like I want to do? Even though I'm good at something, well, it may not be my way. So I'm in a process of trying to figure that out.
That's 100% okay, because a lot of us sometimes go down a path because people tell us that we're good at something, and then we get halfway down that road and we're like, I'm good at this, but do I love
feel
this?
Right.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah.
And I have done that for a very long time, and I know I'm done doing that. It's scary, and it affects me in a lot of different ways, but I have to ask those questions. Even though, like you said, that you're good at it, people say that if you do illustrations, you can make a lot of money over here, and you can do sculptures and make a lot of money over there. And I'm like, yes, I can, but it doesn't feel right. It looks good, but it doesn't feel right.
100%.
So I don't know where I'm heading, actually.
And that's a journey on itself, right? To find exactly, put your finger on it,
Yeah.
So, but I mean, considering that everyone's been telling you you're good at this or good at that, and you've been trying a lot of different things, where did the art stuff start for you?
In a day or from the beginning?
From the beginning.
Well, I did like, I like to draw when I was a kid. I remember like drawing a lot as a kid, but over the years being a teenager and stuff like that, people told me that, oh, you're very good at drawing. And I'm like, yeah, it's okay. But I never took the time to actually sit down and try different techniques or even tell myself that, damn, I'm good. But I remember that I really liked to draw and it was good, but I didn't know it because I just did it because, like you said, other people said like, you're good at this. And I'm like, yeah, okay. And so I think it went from there. And then I had, you could say like a gap for maybe 10 years doing almost nothing, no creative stuff at all. And then I came to a point where I asked one of those questions, like, what am I going to do? Because I was in a situation that, like, I broke up with my boyfriend. I lived in my hometown that I said, I'm never going to move back to this place. And I was back. And I was like, ah. So I kind of had this panic. And so I posted a post on Facebook. I don't remember what it was, but it was like, what can you do to be creative more? Something like that. Yeah. And I remember a girl said, like, maybe you should try art school. And my first was like, art school? Are you serious? Like this oil painting, weird people, I'm like, no, that's not for me. No. But then something clicked. And I said, well, like, yeah, okay, I can send in a form to do you say like try to be applicated? What's the name for it?
An application, yeah.
An application. And I got in, and I was like, wait, what? And so I didn't actually realize what I was signing up for. I didn't know. And so I started art school, and I think everything started from there. And this was back in 2012. So it was in art school for 2 years.
And then you walked out of that with obviously a lot of different skills that you probably didn't know you had.
Yeah. Definitely. Because there was courses that like performance. Oh, but I was like, what's performance? And what is performance for me? And so I tried out performance and I was like, oh yeah, nah, maybe, but maybe in this way, or maybe I can just put things in this type of way. It's a lot of questions, a lot of trying different techniques and stuff like that. Definitely. Yeah. And I was there from 8 o'clock in the morning to like 11 at night for maybe 2 years. I was gone for 11 days in 2 years. So I was there almost every day, just trying different stuff.
And did you feel you're like feeding your soul during that process?
Yeah. Even if I have a lot of questions now, like, but what do I really want to do? Everything started there, and it was pieces that I've never felt or never seen, you could say. Yeah. So scary, and there all of the I started going Instagram and stuff like that. So I got attention from being an artist, and I was like, this is new for me. And so being a little bit broken inside, you start to get attention from drawings or making like sculptures and stuff. And I was like, okay, like we said earlier, that when people say that you're good, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to keep on doing that to fulfill this. Like, oh, I get this intention, and I feel like I'm someone.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was the right path, definitely, but it kind of went the wrong way because of my ego and all the broken parts that I was dealing with at the time, you could say.
Yeah, because all the affirmations were feeding your ego and building you up, but your actual soul wants to go in its own direction, but the ego sometimes gets pretty loud, I can imagine.
Yeah. And before that, I did go 1 year at this college in a town called Gävle here in Sweden, where I studied comics. And this was it was for 2 years, but I only went for 1 year. But I do regret that I didn't even try, because I was too busy looking at where my boyfriend, why is he partying so much. I lost a whole year of something that I really like to do.
Yeah.
And I regret that. I really, really do. Like you said, my focus way off.
But I mean, that's in the past, and that often, we can see that now, but at the time, you're deep in it, not seeing that at all, right? You're blinded. Yeah. Like, damn, your boyfriend partying too much.
So jealous and like, I know. I want to sit here. Yeah, stupid.
But I can see that cartoon stuff in a lot of your work, right? I can still see tastes of it. So, that's something that you took with you, and you managed to bring it through in your work. So, I mean, it wasn't for nothing, that's for sure. You may have only done a year of it, and you may not have been fully focused on it, but it's part of you.
Yeah. Because I remember we were a lot of students, maybe like 20, 25. And all of them together in the studio, just making comics now, and I wasn't there. That's what I miss today. I really, really miss that.
Because right now it's a lonely journey, right?
It's a very lonely. Yeah. And then when spirituality comes in, it gets even more lonely.
Yeah.
Yeah. You need to like cut off the music that you listen to because it really doesn't work and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You came out of art school, and then what happened?
I just went for it. I just went for it. Even the first month, I got my first job, and it was very good paid. So I was like, okay, I'm just going for it, and it just went like super easy for me, like jobs popping up and projects over there and stuff like that. So I just went the path that I'm going now, you could say. Yeah.
And where did this graffiti stuff come into it?
In art school, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. Because I remember I got a few cans from one of my classmates, and she was like, because she could see that I like to draw, and she wanted to see what I could do with spray cans. And I was like, spray cans, graffiti, the same thing. Like, are you kidding me? Blah, 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 blah. And so I took those cans and I went to the town I'm living in right now, because they were open up this new wall where you could paint. And so I took the cans, I went to the wall, and I just tried it out. And people were like, oh my God, is this the first time? And I'm like, yeah. Oh my God, it's so cool. And so the week after, I got invited to a festival to paint with other graffiti artists. And I didn't know shit what I was doing. I was like, caps, what's caps? You know, the things that you use for like the skinny cap and the fat caps and stuff like that. I didn't know. So I was just like pretending when they were talking about cans and low pressure and high pressure. I was like, yeah, I know all that stuff.
Did you feel like you felt like you were the phony, right? Like you're like the imposter,
yeah, because all of them they've been painting from like the 80s, and here I am on my first week. You know.
Yeah. It's so badass. I love it. Yeah. You just like rock up to this crew that's like 2 decades old, and or 3 decades old, and you're like, yeah, this is my first week, painting graffiti. Like, I'm making you guys look like chumps. It looks so good.
It was very fun, and so stuff went very fast from there. Kind of a little bit too fast for me to understand what I was doing, but like for business or career, it was very fast.
And then, how long were you rolling with this? What was this graffiti crew? Could you want to talk about the graffiti crew or not?
Yeah, yeah, it's okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, like what talk about this graffiti crew you got involved with,
um let's see. I was invited to a another event, like this graffiti street art event. And so usually you get invited, you get a wall where you're supposed to paint and you're painting for the public and stuff like that. Um, and I arrived at this place and I see there's a lot of walls. And so when I got there, I got to my wall and then this guy next to me, he came up to me and he was like, oh my God, the loads dudes are coming. Oh my God. And I was like, what are you talking about? And so he was like, the wall that is next to me, uh, that's loads and they're fucking badass. And I was like, whoa, what are you talking about? Oh, cool, and so the loads crew came up and the guy next to me, he's like nervous. He's like, fuck, why is my wall next to theirs? Oh my God. And so I didn't think about it that much, but I was like, yeah, okay, the style looks cool. I haven't seen it before, but it looks cool. And so we started to talk like later that day and it just clicked. The personalities in the crew just clicked from the beginning, definitely. And they were not that scary that this dude said. He was scared to paint next to them, but they were not. And so that's where I met them for the first time. Yeah, it was the first time. Yeah.
Because I'm imagining this crew like rocking around with like cans in their backpack, but baseball bats at the same time.
Yeah, and you can see like when they walk in, you see them.
Yeah,
definitely the energy they have, it's strong. Mm-hmm.
that's so cool. Because like after talking with Steinar Kaspari, I started following a lot of graffiti artists, and although I didn't follow loads or anything like that on Instagram. I don't know if they even have an Instagram page, but yeah, like just seeing some of the big artists like Smug One, like I thought he was super cool.
Yeah.
And he seemed like he had quite a big ego with his work and that sort of thing. And do you think that is part of the graffiti thing because it's a bit underground, but it's not so much anymore, and there's a lot
Um,
of like egos walking around in that
I
world?
was that was my that was just judgment from me, definitely. Because when I saw, let's take when the loads came up, I was like, that's some big ass dudes, and like they're a little bit scary. But when I have been invited to events to meet a lot of artists, especially like graffiti artists, they're the sweetest people. They're the sweetest, and they are so happy to actually see a girl painting. You're like, wow, and I'm like, yeah, I know, wow. They're super nice, super nice, and I mean, there's assholes everywhere, but I would say that there's more assholes at the grocery store than at the train yard, you could say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But do you feel like you got sort of sucked into that because you got the whole, affirmations and the
Yeah.
whole like, you know, feeling like you're part of something and you got
Yeah,
sort of sucked in?
definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. When I look at pictures when I just have like baggy clothes, what's that about? I don't even like that. And I was listening to hip hop for maybe like 2 or 3 years. I don't even like hip hop.
That's so
What the
true.
hell? And so even though I had a really good time and I felt
Mm.
like finally I have people around me that is having the same visions, we like to do the same stuff, but I'm way off. And that I can see it now, but I couldn't see it back then, definitely.
Yeah, but you saw it eventually, right? Because obviously you're not bombing walls so much anymore, right?
Yeah, nah, it's not so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So where did you go after? You obviously did a lot of work with these guys. You did quite a lot of. I'm assuming you got commission work and other stuff like that through that as well.
Not together as a crew from what I can remember,
Mm.
but we were invited like a crew to a lot of festivals, definitely. But I don't think we've done a commission job like that. I don't
Yeah, okay.
remember. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a blur, was it?
It's a blur of like hip hop and baggy clothes.
Yeah, and high on paint fumes. Love it.
Yeah. Hmm.
That, because what happened then? Like you decided that like shit, I'm just not feeling it here. Like, did you
Yeah.
just say like Auf Wiedersehen, you know, ciao, Bella?
Yeah, kinda. When all of these questions came when I started to get this spirituality pad in front of me, it was not my choice. It came. Um, and so with that, a lot of questions started to come up because with spirituality, you kind of need to go back to the core. And I could feel kind of in my first layer, you could say that this is not where I'm supposed to be. And so I need to first take a step back from what I'm doing.
Mm.
And that was the first step, was to leave the crew. It was. And of course we did have some disagreement, I'm not gonna lie. But I felt that for me personally, it would be better to be on my own. And believe me, I was crying. I was really, really crying because they were like brothers to me.
Yeah,
Definitely.
because yeah, I mean that fear of breaking away from what's kind of known,
Yes,
and
yes.
then
I've been
not,
with them. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I mean, if they were like guarding me like for real at these graffiti events, and here I am alone. Like
Mm.
I don't even know. I don't even have a car, so it's like I can't even go to an event by myself. So it kind of started from like the first point. I need to start over.
Mm.
Mm.
And so, what was your first thing you did when you broke away from the graffiti crew, and then decided to go into your own artwork? What was the first things you were doing when you started that sort of line of work? Was it
I
sculpture
think
or
I
was
was
it drawing
taking.
or?
No, Um, I think I went to sculptures a little bit, but if I do a sculpture right now, it can take me 6 months to do the next one.
Mm.
So it's a lot of gaps between, and I don't like that. So but I remember that I took a lot of time off to just actually sit down and listen to what I was feeling, and not trying to be like, oh my God, I need to be creative because I need to post something on Instagram because I haven't done it in a few days. That is something that I can't focus on that anymore.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So I definitely, and I still trying to take a lot of time to understand where I'm going.
Mm.
Yeah.
So, what type of work are you doing these days? Like, considering that graffiti is not a big part of it anymore.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, it's not. I do like to paint. I want to continue painting, but I still need to find my way on it. But for some reason, I have this feeling towards comics and illustrations, to combine illustrations with spirituality and kind of like make a mix, trying to hide a little bit of messages to people and stuff like that, making up stories in my work and not just do something that looks good.
Yeah, and I
Yeah, so I'm
mean,
trying to like combine something more to my stuff and not just something simple.
I mean
Wow, I don't even know these things myself, so
I keep on trying. I feel like the spirituality thing can be a bit intimidating for those who are not really kind of thing. But I feel like if you kind of break down spirituality, it's just about knowing who you are and yourself, right?
yeah.
First, and
Mm.
then
That's where
you,
it starts, right?
yeah, that's it.
Mm.
And so if you're doing that through your work, then essentially you're being spiritual if you're going to put a tag on it. So I just kind of
Yeah.
wanted to sort of touch on that, because often people find the whole, if you say it's like this whole woo-woo kind of shit, people get a bit scared from it, because it's a little bit like religion. If someone goes up to you and says like, "Oh, I'm a Christian," and you're an atheist, you're like, "Back off, motherfucker. I'm
Yeah,
not dealing with
right.
your shit, man. Like,
Yeah, right.
you're not gonna
Yeah.
influence me and try and bring me into your church, like."
Yeah, and I've had that conversations, and I'm like, that's not. It's everything except for religion. But
Mm,
then I know that I need to, when I meet people, I cannot just go up to those and say, start talking about this stuff. And I'm not just like instantly, but for some people, none of this should be spoken of. And
yeah,
that is because they need to find this path by themselves. So if I push them, or even just talking a little bit about it, it can be that path for them in the future can be even harder, because
yeah.
they building up this resistance of not want to know about it because it has to do with feelings and stuff like that.
Mm. Well, I think you bring up a big point there.
Mm.
Like, feelings are a big thing. Like, we are so good at hiding them. Like, we think we are, at
Yes.
least anyway, but it's actual
Mm.
bullshit. We,
Yeah.
we wear our feelings on our shoulder all the time. You know,
Yeah.
people getting angry and frustrated, just like,
Mm.
yeah, that's because you're trying to hide stuff all the time of actually who you are.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
So I know that for the two people that has told me, the one that this is religion, I'm out, and the one that was like screaming at me for being like crazy. I know that they have a lot of pain, and therefore when these questions comes up, the pain comes forward, and
mm,
the reaction they have is just being angry or just leave. And so they need to be angry or leave, because I can't push them, because it's not my job. But if I meet people that I feel like I should do something here, I will. But
yeah.
it's very important that don't talk about stuff if you feel that this is not the right time for this person. And
And
it
often
sucks. I like to talk about it. I love it. It's so much mysteries, and just it's so fun.
it's because, you can sense their energy, right? When
Yeah.
you start mentioning something, or you might taste, put your toe in the water there, and then you'll see what their people's reaction are, and
Yeah.
it doesn't
Yeah.
matter actually whether you're talking about it. It can be anything. Actually, it can be politics, can be, your work life, your opinions
Yeah,
on,
right. Mm.
whatever, right? It doesn't really matter.
Mm.
Often you can feel the energy come back straight away, whether this is the right thing to say or to that person or not.
Mm.
Often, and then the the people that are attuned to that often will shut their mouths. And those that don't often get into arguments with people, because they can't see the signs that this person is not
Yeah.
quite open to those ideas, right?
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
But that comes down to your, like, artwork as well, right? The ideas behind your artworks. If people are not willing to accept the ideas behind them, they won't necessarily accept the artwork for the way you made it, right?
Yeah. I mean, the way I work today is like very new. This is like maybe 6 or 7 months trying to work in the way I feel like I should do. Um, but I know that I have the ability to do artwork because my words is supposed to be in the artwork. The spirituality and all those questions are supposed to be in my artwork. And that is something that's starting to click like right now.
Mm,
So I'm trying to find the right way to do that.
yeah.
Yeah.
And let's talk about your creative process, actually, being that spirituality is part of it. I remember in our pre-podcast chat, you talked about your whole book process, and I was wondering if you could
Yeah.
share that process with the audience. I thought that was so cool.
Yeah. Yeah. that process can be interesting, but also make me crazy. Because like I said, if I feel like, oh, I'm gonna do a sketch day, or maybe in Photoshop or whatever it might be, I get images that is just like, and then I can stop, and then I see an image, and I'm like, nah, not that one, and then I can be like, and stop and see another one. It's so many layers of images just flying by that I can, and sometimes it gets too much that I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm gonna go and do something else.
Mm.
Yeah. So I get a lot sometimes, and therefore I can't do anything.
That process of that understanding, like that flicking of the book sort of thing, and just
Yes,
seeing things
yes.
super fascinates me.
Yeah.
Uh,
And
it's
I
it's
remember
so
that I
interesting.
had this for as long as I can remember, but I haven't reflected on why. But it's a very cool process. It is.
So do you find it you have more like images if you are feeling creative or if you're not feeling creative?
Ooh, ooh, ooh. Um, when I, damn,
I
that
just
was a
thought about
good
that
one.
because
That
I
was a
just thought
really, really
like
good one.
because it interested me because I wonder like is your
Wow.
brain more creative so therefore it's putting more information out, or is your brain starving for creativity and therefore
Hmm.
it puts more information out? I just thought that was an interesting question to ask.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, if I if I feel good and I have a good day, the energy is good. The images do come more easily because I'm more open, and
Mm,
the energy can like flow. But when I don't, this is the first time I'm looking at this. But when I don't, when I have these bad days, my energy do shift to a more heavy way, and therefore, it's definitely harder for the images to come through. You could say,
mm. That's
yeah.
super
So,
interesting. And
yeah,
then like if your boyfriend like comes in your studio right in the middle of that, like
yeah.
does that fuck you
Get
up or what?
out! He had to knock because if he just like, do want to talk about dinner or whatever it might be,
Mm.
I get completely off. It's like someone is like putting a knife in like a movie, and I'm like, ah, it just shifts, and that
Yeah.
can really piss me off.
Yeah, because you're in the flow, right? You know, you've
Yeah,
got
I'm in the
this.
flow, and then because when in the flow, it just goes.
Mm.
I If I have to stop or go to pee, I will go to pee. But it's just like, don't drop it, don't drop it. It's
Yeah,
just like,
because I do
go.
the same thing. Like if a phone call comes through, like unless it's a necessary phone call, I don't take it. You know, like I don't feel like that's a good place for me to get. Like I don't often get
Yeah,
in that place. So I'm like, let's stay in this place. Let's stay in this like flow where I just feel everything's just working.
yeah,
And then, you know, hopefully it comes with a good result. But then yeah, sometimes my kids will walk into my workshop, I can't even talk today. Work walk into my workshop and you know they'll be like, "Hey daddy." And then I'm like, fuck in my head. Like you
yeah,
cross smile at them and like, "Hey
yeah.
darling, what's going on? Like what are you up to?" But in your head you're like, "Oh my God, if
Go
it
back
just
in
gave yeah, just give me freaking 30 minutes, please. I just was doing something here. Fuck's sake."
and keep on smiling.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, just smile and wave, smile and
yeah,
wave.
right.
Oh, that's super interesting. Um, any cool new projects you're up to at the moment?
No,
Just
just straight no. I'm gonna keep on doing videos, trying to be as productive as I can to just like get them out very quickly. But just because the world is in a place it is at the moment, my schedule is blank. There's nothing, and this is like the first time since art school that is like I don't have anything booked. I should
Uh,
freak out,
you,
but I'm not.
you're gonna get heaps of bookings now.
Yeah, I mean,
Now,
I just need
now
to
that we
be.
discussed this.
I need to just. If I freak out, the outcome will be shit. I know that.
Yeah, 100%. Because it's all
Yeah.
the way we perceive things, like
Mm.
if you start feeding negative energy into it, you're gonna be pretty.
That's what I get.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
exactly what
It
you're gonna
is.
get.
Yeah. Because a few days ago, I applied for a scholarship for things like craft and what do you call sculpture scholarship, you could say.
Yeah.
And I was like, if I get this, I'm gonna be like, I can be at home doing videos to like the rest of the year. But I didn't get it, and so and I was like, but why didn't I get it? I got all of these messages that I'm gonna get it. I was like, this is mine, without being in the ego.
Mm.
Um, but then I didn't, and so I asked myself, like, but why didn't I? And then I got the answer that if I would have got the scholarship and the money that I was supposed to get, I would be less creative and not being in a flow because I would relax too much. I would be, oh, I'm safe. I'm safe. And so I was like,
Yeah.
oh, wow. So it was just because I didn't get it because I would be too slow. My process would be definitely too slow.
Well, you need the struggle to grow, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
Mm.
something that I've learned. Like, I needed to struggle to grow, to be better at something,
Yeah.
and push myself out of my comfort zone to then come up with something else and test myself, new ideas and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, I
Yeah.
mean that I feel that's 100% where it's at
Yeah.
for you.
And
I
I'm
love it.
actually um speaking of trying different stuff is that I'm actually having a video coming up in I haven't done it yet, but this is just an idea that I've been talking with people about is that I'm going to try to do haircuts because it's an art form as well.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to try to like maybe some coloring or I don't know. What can I do with the hair? I don't know.
There's so much inspiration for what you could do with hair, I am sure.
Yeah.
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 That's so
Maybe I
cool
can
because
just
I
like put a
mean,
sculpture inside someone's head and just I don't know, make
that's so
waves
good.
of the hairs. I don't know. There's a lot of ways.
No, I could because your a lot of your work is sort of around sort of the forest stuff, I guess. Which I really love. There's all these forest people that you've sort of made and
The forest people. What is
yeah,
that?
I like
Is it
all
the
the
night walkers?
yeah, or the little sculptures and the little
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. It always has a small, like you said, nature vibe.
Because I just thought about
It does.
hair being growing as like a forest, so that was my
Yeah,
immediate thinking.
yeah,
I was
right.
like, yeah,
Yeah.
hair's just a forest.
Yeah, right, right.
Yeah,
And therefore, I also like to have the flute because it makes me feel connected
uh,
to the earth. Definitely.
yeah,
Yeah.
cool. Let's go into story time.
Story time. She stared at the gown and thought, yes, this is something my husband would wear.
I'm not really sure. This was it's a lot of them. Damn. No, I can't come up with one. What? Damn it.
Come on, choose one.
Damn it.
You're worried about what you're worried about it being shit. So just get on with it. Let's
Shit.
get on with it.
But yes, the traveling. Well, I went to London. I was a part of a show with the other artists. It was like kind of like this graffiti vibe. Um, and so I went all the first time by myself on an airplane. So that was that was that was cool. And so when I got there, no, this if I tell the story, I'm gonna be rude. So no,
What do
I
you
can't.
mean you're gonna be
No, I can't
rude?
do that. I can't do that. No. You need to ask another question. I don't know. There's so many.
All right. I'm
Yeah,
sorry,
I don't
people.
know
So we're
that.
skipping story time because Anya doesn't want to be rude. Right then. Well, let's go into Inspiration Nation.
Yeah, yeah. Inspiration Nation.
Is there any sort of everyday sort of creative heroes, is what I call them? You know, people that are just being creative and not necessarily in it for the glory, just because that's who they are, and you want to give them a shout out and make their day.
Ah, that's nice. Damn, there's a lot of them. Yeah, I don't have his name in front of me, but I'm following this guy on Instagram, and he is like he making books. Not writing books or making like illustrations and stuff. He's just making the book. And it's very interesting to see because it's I think it's something that I haven't realized that I'm actually interested of. The way he actually makes the book.
Yeah,
He
like
just makes books.
binding
Yeah,
books and
yeah,
that.
and
Yeah.
it's like wow, it's a super cool process. It's nothing that I'm feeling like that I'm interested enough, but every time I see a post, I'm like, wow. I can see a big ass someone ping a big ass wall, but I'm like a small book. I was like, well, damn, it has like this. You could see that he loves it.
Mm.
Maybe that's the thing that I'm like very inspired by.
I think that's the most important thing, that he loves it, right? I think
Yeah.
that's the most inspiring thing for me, when I see someone just absolutely loving what they're doing, and they don't care about what other people think. They just love it themselves. So
Yeah, even though if the work they do doesn't like go with me and for me doesn't look good, but you can see that they love it.
yeah, 100%, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Actually, I've got
When I
a
was
weird
working as
taste.
Oh yeah, okay, that's a good story time. Okay, I can take that question and the story time.
Let's do
I
it.
was
Come on.
working as a, a lifeguard one summer when I went to art school. And you could see this very beautiful people walking around in their bathing suits and stuff, and they were so uncomfortable with themselves, but they looked great. And then you could see the people that you could say could be overweight, having a lot of weight on. They had so much fun. And I just loved to see how fun they had. They didn't care about what they would look like or lying in the sun trying to get a tan and stuff like that. They had some fun and they were really playing. And that was really nice to see. Very nice.
Do you have
And there was a lot
beaches?
of blood and stuff also when I worked there, but that's not
That's a
not fun.
blood. What sort of
Like,
beach
it's a
is
lot
this?
of blood, a lot of
Jesus.
kids like falling and
Oh,
breaking
okay.
legs and stuff like that. And when blood gets mixed with water, it looks like they just lost like a head. It's crazy, and you have to stay calm because if you panic, the parents start to panic and the kid starts to panic.
Jesus.
Crazy.
I should probably for me, coming from Australia, I'm like, beach has sand, like how can you cut yourself? But knowing that I've been in Norway here, like a beach is just pretty much rocks. So I'm assuming that it's the same in Sweden.
Yeah, kind of.
so, so now I've just got like pictures of like giant blood pools in like the
Yes.
in the water, like.
And I can tell you, and people say that I might be a little bit over the whatever. People say that kids shits in the pool
Mm.
But when I worked there for a whole summer, it was like big shits. This is like big dudes taking shits.
What?
Yes. And we had this note in the locker room where we had to put a note on the person that got the poop information that you need to pick it up. So it was like a competition. Like, how many did you get last week? I'm like, no, just 4. And the other person got like 7. Crazy.
Oh
A
my
lot
God.
of poop, a lot of blood.
Yeah. Oh, Jesus. Although I don't know, you don't have kids, but I tell you, I've been impressed by my son's, work. So maybe you're wrong about that. It was adults that are
It could be
pooping in
like
the pool.
big ones. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Don't get too excited about that.
Okay.
Although that is a good part of the story, I think. All right, let's get into random question. Are you ready? Random question.
Okay. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. I thought this is a good question because I started thinking about what I'd do in this question. So here goes.
Oh, okay.
Ready?
Yeah. Do I need to answer fast? No.
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 Yeah.
Okay.
No. I could just put a really long, like Jeopardy kind of like, music
Yeah.
over the top.
Yeah.
And then we'll see how it goes. All right, here we go. If you were given a monster truck, but you couldn't sell it and you couldn't get rid of it, what would you do with it?
I would build it to a house for my cat. That would be
You're in love
very
with
cool.
your
Like
cat, right?
make a small rooms in the wheels, something like that. Yeah.
There's a lot of space in the actual cockpit of the monster truck as well. It could be like a really cool climbing park for your cat as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Massive.
Yeah, you're super in love with your cat, right?
Oh yes. 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 Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Definitely. I know why he's here. Definitely. He is just quick. He is teaching me not to be worried, because if I'm worried, it affects him.
Yeah.
And the outcome comes in stuff that like he gets hurts and stuff like that. So it's very painful, but when everything is very good, the relationship is wonderful. But if I'm worried, it affects him.
Well, I could say the same about my kids, right? They've taught me a lot of how to have patience, how to keep my emotions in check because, you know, it flows on to them. I
Yes. Yeah.
often think about how my actions and emotions affect my children and what I'm
Yeah.
building them into because I don't want them to go through what I've had to go through in learning about myself
Mm.
because of the way I was brought up. I would prefer
Right.
them to be self-aware enough that they don't have to go through that. And if
Yeah.
I can provide them a good environment for that, then I think that's what I'm hoping to achieve, at least with them.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I think like seeing your YouTube video and you spend, I don't know, was it 2 minutes
Making a cake, yeah.
about making a cat birthday cake, which your cat doesn't give a living shit about.
Yeah. So rude.
I love it.
Yeah.
All right, let's go into Hack Attack.
This is Hack Attack! I will not apologize for this bad intro.
Have you got any cool tips or tricks that you want to share with our audience?
You mean being creative with the like techniques?
Yeah, I mean, like it could be anything.
Yeah, if you don't feel like doing it, don't do it.
Mm.
Like, I need to sketch, and then you sit down with a paper and a pen and it doesn't feel right, just drop it. Don't push yourself.
Yeah, because Brene Brown talks about this quite often. She talks about dig deep, get deliberate. So it's like, what does it stand for? dig. I've forgotten now. Damn it! I can't even do this justice anymore. Damn it! But anyway, it's along those ideas. It's like, you want to do it. Actually, just take a break if it doesn't feel right. Get yourself leveled out, and then try again.
Yeah.
And do something you really want to do. Like if there's a movie you've been wanting to watch for ages, but you just too busy with work, trying to be creative all the time, and then it's just not creatively working. Just go down and sit down for 2 hours and watch that mad movie you wanted to watch. And then all of a sudden at the end of it, you'll be like, I'm in the flow, let's do this.
Yeah.
Because your mind changes in that process.
It does.
Cool. Let's wrap it up. Anything you want to give to our audience to take away with today's episode? Any philosophies, any life lessons?
There is definitely a lot of stuff going on energy-wise with everyone. And people don't know what that is at the moment. There's a lot of people having a lot of feelings that they don't know where it comes from. But we are at a point where you have to choose where you want to go. And this is very important for people to know. So that is what I wanted to tell people, to listen to where you want to go. Super, super important at this moment.
Because energy is everything. I mean, I literally am today thinking about doing an experiment because I heard about, I was in an episode with Andy Berkey. I talked about them freezing water particles and the negative energy, or the negative, if you like. Do you remember I think we talked about it too, right? It deforms the ice particle.
I've seen this.
Yeah. So
how
heard,
they change.
Yeah, they change, right? If you like flood them with bad energy, such as like negative comments and things like that, which is so crazy. So I'm actually going to try to do this myself, but not with ice crystals. I heard you can do it with rice and water. So so I'm going to label one jar with like happy, and then one with sad or something like that, or and then
is that when you pour it down, you like having a good energy when you put it there, or just I heard that you can, when you walk by, you can be like, oh, you look very nice today, and then to the other one, like, you look like shit.
Yeah,
and so you like posting the energy.
Yeah, that's what I'm kind of going to do. And my idea is actually to use all the negative talk I used to have myself, and still sometimes do, to be honest, and use that on the bad rice and see if it physically changes. Because I've heard that it actually does change. Like there's stark contrast between the two.
Yes.
So I want to try this for myself. I want to see if it's bullshit or not, because I don't think it is bullshit, but
people need to see it in front of them.
Yeah, let's think about this, people. Like, if you're watching the news and it's negative, that's affecting you on a cellular level, not just in a mental level. If you're listening to music and it's depressive and it's got some ties with bad energy, that is dragging you down on a cellular level. So I
had to cut down a lot of music, even though I was like, oh my god, it has so much memories, but when I was listening to it, I was like, wow, this is not good for me. Even though they were like, yes, it's a good song, it was still completely wrong. So yes.
I'm going to talk about this in episode 30 with Kristen about my change in music. I think it's really important. Yeah. So, but I think we'll leave it there. Anya, where can people find you?
On Instagram, or just like in like a person? You're gonna find me running around in the woods.
Yeah, exactly. No, both places. Okay, you'll find Anya in the woods, and you'll find her
running around.
and you'll find her on Instagram.
Yeah. Yeah,
What?
Facebook not so much. I'm trying to stay away from that. So Instagram is where I'm the most active.
Yeah, so it's
Mm.
Q.bless, right?
Yes.
Yeah, cool. Mad dog. All right. Thank you very much, everyone, for listening. Before you go, Insta stalk Q.bless. My guests are all like you, just doing their thing, trying to be creative. And if you want to help them be found by a bigger audience, please, go tell a friend. Post on Instagram. I know that if you were on this platform sharing your story, you'd love that to be done for you. So I just encourage you all to get out there and share people's stories. If you want to be one of the cool kids and join the GA Nation, you can do that by heading over to Patreon. And if you can't support me financially, then please just drive around your town with your windows wide open and the Make Ideas Reality podcast blasting it at 11, and tell the world about the podcast. If you want to send me some feedback, you can send your DMs to @GarageAvenger on Instagram. Be sure to go check out Q.bless on Instagram. Until next time, keep pushing yourselves, keep ballsing up things, keep learning, get inspired, and I'll catch you on the flip side. We're out. We're done.
We're done.
That was awesome.